Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 21st, 2016 meeting of the Merrimack Conservation Commission. Mike is excused tonight, but we do have positions open on the commission if anyone's interested. We have a full-time and an alternate spot, so please contact Becky Thompson in the town manager's office. And we'd love to have you join us, and you can be trained on site. How's that? So. We have a meeting on Thursday the 24th with the Town Council to go over the land donation and to discuss closure of South Greater Road. Now, I had suggested at the last meeting that we would talk about the submittal information. Do we need to talk about what I submitted? And we'll pick it up later on under other business, or are we all good with what I provided you all? Okay, all right, good. Just want to give you an opportunity to comment if you'd like, so. All right, so we're sort of late in the agenda for Thursday night, so we'll get to enjoy the evening with Jody and the rest of them. So, yeah. So, but you never know; things change, you know. So, all right. There is a meeting about the water situation here in town on Wednesday at James Mastrocola Upper Elementary School at 7 p.m. If you're interested, I believe folks from DES will be explaining what's going on. And then also so you know, there is a hemlock invasive workshop on April the 9th, Saturday, from 10 to 2 in Amherst. It's sponsored by the Amherst Conservation Commission. I think many of you have probably seen notices of that. I think I've pushed that out at different times. They have quite an issue. We actually have a couple of trouble spots ourselves in case you're interested in becoming educated on the hemlock invasives. So, and that's all I have for announcements. Anyone have anything else? All right, we started at 6:36 p.m. All right, so public comment. I see no one from the public to comment. We have no appointments, and we'll start right in on our statutory advisory business with college-bound movers and Fieldstone. So if you recall, we were looking at this about a month ago. Project's changed a little bit, yes. So if I could get you to sign my sheet for me and make sure the green light is very bright on that microphone.
That's very bright. Good evening. My name is Chris Gaida with Fieldstone Land Consultants. And since we met last, the owners or prospective owners of the property decided they'd like to change their plans a little bit and make their addition somewhat larger. So I think you have copies of these plans, but essentially we talked about just putting this addition to match this one, and I guess they revised some of their plans or their long-term plans for the building and determined that they needed to expand that the full length of the building. So as we talked about before, we were concerned a little bit about infiltration, impervious areas within the zone. So we talked, about where the runoff was going. So with some advisory comments from the planning board, it's my understanding, we did propose, or we are proposing with the basin in here with the leaching catch basin to pick up all the runoff from the new addition. The existing building is still going where it was. The roof drains, I believe they go down through the center of the roof. It's kind of a flat roof system, and they head out to the back to this drainage system here. So this is going to be separate from that, and it's all going to be captured in here and into this leaching catch basin. The only other additions were the planning board requested an additional walkway out to Continental Boulevard, so that's shown there. And of course the we had proposed the pedestrian walkway as well along the front. Those are really the only changes. Again, we've made the addition for the infiltration. And that's essentially it. I don't know if you can entertain some questions.
So we got the stormwater report, which shows that the levels are gone down slightly.
Yeah.
So so there's no issues there that I could see. Did you all get a chance to take a look at that? So, and this is a 2-story addition, correct?
It is. The building itself is essentially 2 stories. So in the cover letter here, I believe that you have a copy of, when I read it, it looks like they were adding a 2nd story, but they're not really. The inside of this building has a really high ceiling. So the long-term plan is to add an interior 2nd story, if you will, but not adding on to the height of the building. It's all interior. Right.
Yeah, I was curious about that because I thought the building was much taller.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the long-term plan is to have a climate-controlled storage unit in there. In the interim, there's going to be several businesses running out of there: the truck rental, college-bound movers, and the MyBox. And as that progresses, it's going to transition into the full climate-controlled self-storage unit. That's their master plan, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed all our comments previously have all been rolled into the plan, so you've addressed fertilizers and Green Snow Pro and all these other things. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't see the word hay anywhere. So.
Or Milford.
Or Milford.
That's all right. I'll just pull that right out.
So honestly, I really had no other concerns, and nothing struck me. So,
Okay.
anyone else?
I was questioning why there was a walkway out to Continental Boulevard, but you said you were asked to put it in. I guess it's
Right. I guess it's strategic. At some point, I guess there may be path down
sidewalks down Continental Boulevard. Okay.
Well,
all right, whatever.
I was doing some work the other day in Nashua, and there was a sewer line out in the street, and it was for a septic system inspection. And I said, well, geez, you don't have to replace your system. You can tie into the sewer. And of course, when I make the phone call to the city, they say, yeah, what's that street again? Yeah, those sewers don't go anywhere. I said, okay. He said they required them to be put in when the subdivision was done back in the late 60s, but they're not tied into the city main. Just in case the main ever came by, they could tie into them, but they're not functional. So it's like, okay, it's good to know.
Yeah, it would be good to know.
You're probably the first person that called to check.
I know. I did have a tough time getting the manhole cover open. It hadn't been opened in a while, so. And it looked pretty clean in there.
Right. Anyone have anything? So to the planning board, we'll state all our concerns have been addressed and everything looks good.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
All right.
Thank you.
That was quick.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. So let me get reorganized here again. Stuff away. So then we'll move on to old business and an update on the target shooting ordinance. So we have a meeting. Jody's participating, so is town manager, town attorney, chief of police on Friday to discuss where we are with all this and get everyone's input so that way we can move forward in confidence to the town council and whatever we're going to do. So it's an opportunity to get everyone up to speed and
Good night. Thank you.
hopefully air any concerns. I'm going to do something similar to what I did for our last meeting, do a summary of where we're at, what's been discussed, and that way everyone can take a look at it. I'm hoping to get that done tomorrow evening, so that way everyone has a few days to take a look at it, and then come on Friday to the meeting and prepared to ask questions. So that's the what's changed since our last meeting on the ordinance itself. We've done some work with signs, right, Matt?
Yes.
So I believe we've settled in on a sign, what it's going to say.
It's the contractor is just adjusting the sign with the recommendations that came from everybody around the table, and he's going to give me another proof, and at that point I'll just send it around, make sure it's exactly what everybody was looking for.
Okay. I did speak with Chief Doyle at the deliberative session and mentioned to him that we were getting signs, and he said that we should let him and his department know immediately after they go up, because he said they will enforce the signs. So that's good. I told him, I said, we're not putting them up with any ordinance behind them, we're putting them up as property owners, and he said that's fine. He said as long as there's signs there, then there's something I can work with. So, because if nothing else, he can go after trespassing or something else, doing something they're not allowed to do. So that was good. I was glad to hear that. We also discussed at our last meeting cameras. How do you want to proceed with that? I mean, we approved the expense. We obviously need to get them and figure out how we're going to use them. So, okay.
I brought a
Woodski catalog?
We're in the woods too much land.
yeah. We could probably look at this after we've
That's
already
fine.
decided on that.
Yeah. So you've got some suggestions, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
So are you willing to do the purchase and do that sort of stuff? Are you going to need money up front? Any thoughts on that?
Sure, I could get him.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's great. Good. Just want to make sure, because I know we put it out there, but we didn't actually task anyone. So,
And based on the minutes, we said we were going to try and install the cameras when we installed the signs, correct?
yeah, if we
That's our
can.
goal.
Yeah, and then utilize them for animal purposes and everything else too,
Okay.
going long term.
Yep.
Yep. So. Yep. I know. All right, so that's all I have for an update on this. Anyone have anything else they want to bring up? Okay. So that takes us to the NED Pipeline. So I believe I've sent everything that we've submitted to FERC off to our attorney. I've been CCing Cindy, so she has everything. I didn't think you all wanted to see it all again, because you've seen it all before. But I wanted to make sure that there was at least one other member of the commission who was aware of what's going on. I think that's important. And if anyone wants to be part of the CC or part of the situation, I'm not excluding anyone. You're all welcome to chime in and say, yeah, Tim, I'd like to be kept aware. So I got acknowledgement that she received all the information. I've not seen anything come back yet. So, and I don't expect to. I think it's going to take her a little while to go through it and figure out what has value and give us some advice as to what we should resubmit. Or hopefully she'll even let us know if she thinks there's holes in our submission, things that she would have expected to see and didn't see. So, but that's where we are with our attorney. The survey denial letter got sent and received. So you all saw that FERC got the posting. I did submit it that way. So, and everyone else got their hard copies, which is good. Our attorney also got a copy of the letter as well, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's good. At our last meeting, we talked about putting together a letter in regards to the need for the pipeline. Is that something you want to report on?
I haven't pulled it together yet,
Yeah.
but I have been pulling together information, so I will get something pulled together for next meeting. Is that all right?
That's fine, yeah. Okay. I have had communications with Jeff Littleton in regards to our property on Continental Boulevard. Jeff was supposed to go by on Thursday if he could, when he was going to be in the area, passing through. Depended on weather, and Thursday wasn't the greatest day. We did get rain on Thursday, so. But he was hoping to take a look. He said he is familiar with the property. He's driven by it before. You remember his other discussions in that area. I also told him that the parcels that are abutting it are owned by DOT, and if he needs to get permission to go on those parcels, we'll have to deal with DOT. DOT has not posted their properties, so I mean, theoretically, you could go there anyways, but I think it'd be best to let everyone know. I did also let Chief Doyle and the captains know that Jeff would be out on the properties. They had a description of his vehicle. They, like before on Horse Hill and Gilmore Hill, he was going to have his ID and things with him in case. But I let them know that he'd be there on Thursday only at this point. So that way, because it's a very visible spot. And so if anyone called or said, hey, there's someone walking around out there. So the police were aware. I think that's all I've got.
Just had a question. We had talked about the keeping track of the SEC, and I just want to clarify exactly. I did sign up, so I am getting all of the SEC information. How exactly would you like me to keep track of that? Similar to what Cindy's doing with the FERC?
That was my thought.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you see something of interest, you know, we don't have to see the minutia, but
Okay. So just forward it along to the group.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you.
that or a link if you think that's easier than actually downloading the document. It's really up to you. So
I don't know about anyone else, but I'm getting warnings that my mailbox is getting full.
yeah.
So there's no real way to seemingly archive that data. So we're trying to work through it now. So not that I mind all the emails.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah. Well, what's nice about what Cindy does is she keeps pre-pending, so you can start deleting some of them.
Yeah. Recently, though, the actual email was over the limit,
Yeah.
so I had to start over again.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but before that, yes, I tried to keep all the history so that it's all right there, and you can delete the prior ones.
So in regards to the size of your mailbox, talk to Chuck.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, well, if there's stuff in it I'd like to be able to archive, but
Yeah.
it's, you know, you're talking 2008. But
Yeah.
where else do you put it? You know, you have to do something with it. So.
Yeah, I did make arrangements with Chuck to have mine bigger because all this pipeline stuff is just overwhelming. So
I've had from everything that's come in for FERC, I started just having them all go into a separate folder, and I have over 8,500 FERC notifications in that folder. So it's crazy.
yeah. Okay. But yeah, don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else? Moving right along. So that takes us to Beaver and water control activities for 2016. I don't know, Gage, if you prepared anything?
Nothing really major, but we have, Matt and I were able to go look at a spot the other day that had an issue. Oh, sorry. Thank God you're here.
Yeah.
Matt and I were able to go into the Horse Hill area and get a couple pictures of the area that's causing some problem in there. And I've got a couple other areas that have historically caused problems. We went and checked them out. I've got some pictures of those, so I've putting that together in an email and gotten it off to our consultant. So when he's in the area, he's going to try to take a look at those and get a good idea of what that property looks like and what needs to be done, so we can have something for him to go on. So. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot. I mean, we're right getting into it now. Snow out, the snow's gone, the ice is gone, so the animals are active again. The water's warmed up enough now. We've had enough sunlight that they're out and active. So we're starting to see the activity. We've had a couple, just pictures of them, but nothing, no reports of problems yet. So other than the ones we already know about.
I know the peepers have been in my pond over the last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what I did is I forwarded a bunch of info, but I realized the one that I wanted to send I didn't send out until last night. And that's the one that
The one with-
broke out the costs and who
Right.
the responsible parties were. Are there any of those projects that we should be doing now, or is that what you're having Mike take a look at now? Because there's like 4 or 5, there's, I guess, 10 altogether that say Conservation Commission.
Right. So, yeah, that list, along with the couple sites we're going to add, I figured before we just start jumping into those, we might want to look at those and assess them versus the ones we have in the list and see which ones are higher priority before we get going. Because we do have to get a couple of these done this year. We kind of fell last year and didn't get it done in time. So,
Yeah.
but there's, before we get, these were high priority
Right.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, do we have anything that's higher now?
Understood. Yeah.
So I just figured it might be prudent to wait. We've waited 2 years. We might can wait another month.
Okay. So do you think Mike will have a chance to come up in the next month?
Yeah, he's planning on being here anyways. He was asking whether the ice was out, and so that was his trigger to saying that he can go out and start.
Mm-hmm.
He was working his way north, so
Yeah.
we're in that path.
Yeah, I know the one on Natticook Road by Greens Pond Road has been flowing pretty well.
Right.
So, driven
Yeah,
by a few times.
All the ones that are, he has checked them, but I've checked them also, and they're all seemingly may survive the winter without an issue. The one Mount Mitchell Woods is flowing very well. We are Madison Drive, Mitchell Woods. That whole area is actually they're finding other places to dam up, which that's going to be an interesting thing to look at because it's a very wide area. There's no one place to put a dam.
Do you know
so.
what it is they're talking about, the device, Gina? Could you just explain to Gina what this
Sure.
is and how it works?
I mean, I can turn on the computer and show you things too if you want. It's up to you.
So we decided as a group that we're no longer trying to control Beaver. We're trying to control water level. So I know it's a kind of flip side of the same coin, but we have installed in town 4 devices that actually pipe through the dam and allow water to transfer through the dam without making the water sound that triggers the building of a beaver, right by the beaver. So the Greens Pond is the easiest one to look at because you can actually see most of it from the road. So are you familiar with the Greens Pond where it goes down? On the road, if you look where there was a big Cadillac, they call it the Cadillac grate, where the water used to flow down to, now has a round, just almost looks like chicken wire around it, and there's a pipe coming into it, flowing into it. Well, that pipe leads down about 20 some odd feet to a inlet that is well away from where the water makes the sound, so they don't try to dam it up over here. It goes through the fencing, and they try to dam up around all the fencing because that's where the sound is. But the pipes, they just dam up right around the pipe.
Page 5.
So, yeah, if you can,
So that's why I don't see DPW there with the big
Correct.
boots cleaning out
Yeah.
all the
Right.
sticks anymore.
so we've done that same thing. There's that location. There's Mitchell Woods, where we had the same problem, and then there's also down in Meadowood Pond, and there's 2 down in Meadowood Pond because there's two dams in that one location. So that's also an interesting area to go look at. You can see exactly how it's stepping down. So it's kind of interesting. And the DPWs had one installed on Kathy Street, I guess.
Yeah,
Kathy Street, I guess was where they had it installed. I haven't gotten pictures of that yet, so
Thank you.
they've been very effective.
Yeah.
So we don't have to trap anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, yes, and eventually the beavers will self-regulate their population and everyone will live well together. So, right. So, okay. Yeah, so the idea of this agenda item was to see if there was anything we needed to do right away, if there was specific actions you wanted for us, and also to reacquaint ourselves because we lost traction last year with the pipeline and everything.
I do have one thing I'd like to add, and I have not gotten any pricing or anything for it, but where we seem to be in limbo with the GIS system and getting this data onto the town site, and we've already gone ahead and collected data since the report was over, where GZA holds all this information. I was going to get from them a price, like a kind of per hour price, for us to continue reporting information to it, so they could record it on the map and on the model.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to be a big expense. I mean, we've looked at 4 spots, and a couple of them are already ones that we've looked at before. So I didn't know if, obviously based on price, but I would like to try to retain them to be able to send them data occasionally and have them record that data back in the model so we don't lose it. Because right now we are. I mean, we don't have the Kathy Street device on there. We have the location, but we don't have the fact that we installed anything there, and we're not really tracking it against any maintenance.
Now, if we are going to track those additions, is there a way to separate it, saying that this is a DPW device versus a Concom device, or is that something we even want to?
I think we should keep track of what's what's responsibility.
Okay.
So, it's a database.
Yeah, right.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean it's something
Binary.
That,
It's another attribute.
we have the folder, the file that Tim sent out has responsibility in there, but we also have the location and the owner, so we can make those fields populate with whatever information we really need to have in there.
Great.
So we should be able to do that, yes.
So you've joined us since we did all this work. Did you get a chance to see the link to the actual plan that GZA did? It's on our website. So that was the presentation that Tracy gave us. But behind that is a 70-page plan. It's quite extensive. It goes through all the locations. It's a PDF now, so it's available on our Merrimack Outdoors website. On the left-hand column, there's a link that says Beaver information.
It's thrilling.
But it was kind of exciting that they created a model that actually works.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so take a look at it and let me know, or actually let Gage know if you have any questions, right?
Just so you know, we keep saying the model, so you understand what we're talking about. There's an actual picture of the town, the map of the town, and what they did is they went through and modeled the habitat that would support, beaver wildlife a kit. Went through and mapped it all out, and it made. This criteria made this one a little bit more, this one, and it changed the colors based on the level of priority that it gave. And once they did all that out, they took our list of known location problems, and our list matched up on every single one of the spots. So they made this model, and it worked first try. So it was an interesting experiment for them and for us. So now we have a document that we can share with the planning, town planning, and they can see where they're going to be issues if they, developments and whatever.
Yeah, and the theory behind it is now applicable to other towns, so other people could take advantage of their services and have them do a model of their town. And it'd be really helpful if you had a very undeveloped town that was, in the beginning stages where we're towards the end of our development stages. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So take a look at the report. And I guess more to come on that then.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Well,
Right.
I'm going to pursue GZA and get some pricing from them as to potentially retaining them for some data input onto this model.
Yeah, I would think we would want to do that.
Yeah, I can't see any reason why we wouldn't.
I mean, they've been
Yep.
their prices over the time for everything else we bid on has been pretty reasonable. So I can't expect this is going to be any kind of.
So can you talk to the GIS money that's in the budget for next fiscal year? Are you familiar with that?
How much the budget?
Or what because my impression was that starting next fiscal year, they were going to start spending the GIS money that they've been putting away to start doing improvements and things like that.
Okay.
Do you know anything about that? No?
Not the specifics, no.
All right.
I can find out for you, though.
Yeah, I didn't know if Mike was aware of it because he was doing some of that tracking or not, so, but.
Mike was involved in the original. Sorry. Mike was involved in the original. The town had some meetings for GIS, and Mike was our representative to go and sit in the meetings and
Right.
our input into the,
Yep.
Yeah.
into the meeting.
Let me ask Mike to
All right.
to
I just
report.
know the overall dollar amount
Yeah.
that was budgeted,
Mhm.
but specifically what we're going to
Yeah.
spend it on and when, I don't know.
All right. I'll ask Mike what he knows, and if we need to know more,
Let
He
me
has-
know.
yeah, or he has the connections, maybe he
Okay.
can find it, yeah. I know you're busy. So, okay. All right, so, under old business, maps for our properties. So, a year or so ago, Commission approved purchasing or having printed maps for our properties and using an outside printer because we actually got a better quality paper and it was easier on the town's equipment because we were doing thousands of maps, especially for Horse Hill. Well, it turns out Horse Hill has gone through their 3,000 maps, I think it is. So they need more maps. Wildcat Falls is going to need some maps printed. We did a holdover for them before. I'm sure Greater Woods is going to need maps at some point.
I put the last of, I had 50 some odd maps, and I put the last of them in the kiosk, Saturday, right? Sunday. When were we out there?
At the school?
Yeah.
Was it empty or was there still some?
There was a couple. No, it was Sunday we were out there. Yeah, so it was, I don't know, I had 25 or 30 of them left.
Okay.
That's the last of my
So you're going to need
board.
maps too?
Well, we have probably half a box.
Okay.
Not sure how many that is,
All
but I usually put 50 at a time.
Okay, so what I would like to do, instead of coming back to the commission every time we need maps, is if I could get standing orders where I can order maps with the town department and get them done every time someone tells me we need maps, and I'd be happy to report that we're buying more maps so you're aware. But if you don't mind, just to do that as long as we need to, and take it out of Fund 53.
Do you want to try laminating a couple and ask them, please return? And see if we can get people to take them and then drop them back off when they leave, instead of just taking a piece of paper and stuffing it in their car and then a month later cleaning out their car and throwing it away?
I don't mind as long as you're willing to manage that and find out if it works.
Yeah, I mean, we can try it at a couple locations and just see if we get them back.
Yeah.
I think I told you guys about that. When I was down in Carolinas, it was a pretty large park, and there was maps in all the kiosks, and they were just laminated. It says, please return. And they were obviously well used.
Yeah.
They were folded, and people drawing the neat thing here, and they'd drawn it on the map, and it's kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So we can take a couple and we'll laminate them and stick them in the box and see if they get returned.
Okay. Do we want to try this at more than one property?
We can.
And I can ask Roland if he doesn't mind managing at the one at Amherst Road.
We can just they'll do 25 or 30 maps and a couple different properties and see which part of town's the nicest.
So can we get these so they can actually be folded, or you know what I mean? Or are they just 8.5?
I was just gonna limit them 8.5 by 11, but
Yeah.
But
it's
then
kinda-
what are you going to put them in and on the kiosk?
Yeah.
I'll think maybe just put a file folder on there or something like that. I guess I don't know.
Roll them and put a clip or something on them.
Yeah, it's not. This is kind of a. I don't want to make a whole bunch. I don't want to do a whole bunch of work to the kiosk. So they sit there and then find out that this is not going to work at all.
I like the idea because
Yeah, so that's the same.
reduction of
we
waste.
could-
I really do like the
Right.
idea if it works.
It's the same. If we can for the temporary, we can find some way to adhere them
Okay.
to the kiosks for now to see if they work. If it seems like something that works, then we can make it a little bit more permanent fixture.
Okay. I'm game.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay.
All right.
Tim, do you need a formal motion for
That was gonna go
authority
there.
to? Okay.
Now, the mechanism of I need more for this location, is that the subcommittee chair coming to you and saying we need more?
Yeah, chair or designee. So
Okay.
when it comes to Horse Hill, it's Roland who's the designee.
Okay.
He's the one who's been getting them, folding them, and putting them in the kiosks. So, So, because I'm going to have to sign on the invoice after they're purchased anyway, so it'd be good for me to know. I mean, we could go straight to Amy if you want to, but if it doesn't come through me till after they're paid for, well, it doesn't matter. I just want to be able to report to everyone that we're doing it.
I'm just thinking some of the maps are going to need updates soon.
Right.
And I would say, the Wasserman property probably needs a kiosk and a map, period, because there isn't one right now, and the trail system over there has grown significantly.
Yeah.
So we might have another map coming on board.
Yeah, we should have another map coming on board, I think. I think that'd be important to have. So,
But yeah, I think we should authorize you to.
all right, so right now, I consider Horse Hill to be pretty stable, and I consider Wildcat Falls to be pretty stable. The other ones, then we'll have to order them, Greater Woods, the way we'll have to look at it every time. So probably best if that came through you then.
Okay.
All right, the request for that, because you'll know the pulse of your committee. So, and I'm all for a Wasserman one if anyone wants to create the first one. I don't know if you. I shouldn't say I don't know. I suspect that there are enough maps of Wasserman already available online. But they won't have all the trail names, maybe not, I don't know. They may not have all the land features, but I'd be very much interested in having a Wasserman map. So, anyone want to take that up, or do we want to see if we can find a scout?
Take it up. I can take it up, but it's going to be well into late summer before I can really dedicate much time to it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, we'll see how things go.
Yeah.
All right.
So did you want somebody to make a motion? Matt, do you want to make that a formal motion?
Yes. So moved.
What do you want it to say, Tim? What does it need to say?
To authorize the chair to repurchase maps when needed from Fund 53, and to alert the commission after so doing.
Second.
Okay. So Matt moved and Cindy seconded.
Yeah.
Tim supplied the wording.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on the motion?
Do you need to or want to limit it to any kind of level of value, or do we just say we're trusting good judgment of the chair? I mean, is that
Trusting judgment.
well? That's the thing. I mean, I don't want to end up buying 3,000 maps and then like Tim just like Matt just said is like, okay, now we changed it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now what are we going to do with all these? There has to be some.
But these requests are coming from the subcommittees.
Yep.
So I would imagine the subcommittees, if there's going to be a change in a map, the subcommittee,
Yep. No,
I
that's a
can't
good point.
imagine them saying,
Well,
give
that's-
us 500 maps when we know we're going to change them. So since the requests are coming from the subcommittee, hopefully they should have a good idea and be able to advise the chair on quantity.
Good point.
What I would really, ideal situation is a member of public or somebody who's really good with mapping. Give us, Wildcat Falls is great. That one is perfect for that area. But Horse Hill, Greater Woods, and the new Wasserman, they need some work.
Did you see what Nat did with the trail I sent him on his phone?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I
it's-
have great maps on my phone.
Yeah.
Getting it on a map?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. We should talk to Nat about that because I sent him the Eagle Trail, and while we're sitting there, oh yeah, there, this is what it's gonna look like on Google Maps. I was like, I sent it to you 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
So it's that quick. He's got seemingly a good system that really. maps
Ideally,
it out
that's
well.
what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody that can come to us and
Yeah.
say, here's a really great map of your really great property and trails.
Well,
Is this something an Eagle Scout might want to take on? Or is this kind of over their
Oh,
heads?
well, it might, but I'm not aware of one. I did query a troop recently to find out if they had any prospective scouts coming up, and not for another year.
Oh,
So,
okay.
well, I mean, if we're serious about this, and I think we should be, maybe we should contact NRPC and say, because they already want trail maps. They've already asked us for this. They've collected some data. Maybe we could get them to create a map that's consistent for all our properties. And then they'll have it, and we'll have it, and it'll be GIS, so we can go into our GIS system. Should I ask NRPC to quote that kind of an activity?
I would ask for a quote, because I'd be very interested to see how much that would cost.
Yeah.
And you know, it would take the subcommittees working with them to turn off some of the trails that
Right.
have been used but don't really exist.
Yeah.
And add newer ones that might not be as defined.
Because I gave the NRPC Horse Hill based on what Don put together, which I thought was pretty close to accurate.
Right, yeah.
They said they wanted to take his and run it with their GPS because they've got better resolution, and they just wanted to have it in their system because they know how to do the transfer very easily. So I said, well, you got the map. And they said, okay, well, next time we have a time with an intern, we'll do it. Well, that was months ago because they haven't had time with an intern to do it. So yes, I can ask them to quote the activity. Should we ask them to quote making it Google Maps compatible? Or however we want to do it?
I've not come across anything so far that's not can't output to a GPX or something that KZM or something that goes into Google Maps.
Right.
So I've got 2 apps on my phone, 2 totally different manufacturers, and they both, it's export, open it up with Google Maps, and it's there. So, so they have some different features. And there's another app here that one of the members of the subcommittee is using that seemed to be very powerful, and it's right on his phone. He's checking it out now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll ask NRPC to quote it. I'll talk to Ryan over there and see if it's something they can do. We are a member of the NRPC.
One of the features I think that we're looking for is an offline capability. You want an offline map?
Yeah.
Because you don't always, especially up in Greater Woods, we've got a lot of places we don't have good reception.
Yeah.
So you want something that you can actually be on your phone if people are going to rely on it for navigation purposes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they might be somewhat motivated to help us do it too. So, okay. I can do that. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, that passes 6-0-0.
That's the
Okay. Anything else with maps before we move on? Okay. So new business. I added this new business item. This is the Fields Farm parcel. Are all of you familiar with where the parcel exists? Do you want me to?
Yep.
So Fields Farm is further west down Amherst Road. So if you were to go past the Horse Hill parking lot going west on Amherst Road, and if you got to Peasley Road, which would be a left when you're going west, you would have gone past it. So Fields Farm is, you got Horse Hill across the street. You've got, you got the Listoka farm. I forget the name of his farm. And then you've got Tamasian Drive, which is a dirt road where they're building the new homes. Okay. Just beyond that, there's a split-level home on the right-hand side. Just beyond that is the beginnings of Fields Farm. Actually, Fields Farm wraps around that split-level home, goes all the way down to the river, and goes all the way over to the Taylor residence where he has logs and wood for sale, and he has his own logging company. So it's roughly 80 acres of land, I think it is, or something like that. It's fairly undeveloped. There are some trails on it.
How many acres?
I thought it was 80 or 60, something like that.
I think it's 300.
Yeah, I thought it was much larger than that.
Well, what's on here?
On Merrimack Outdoors, it's more like 300.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Merrimack Outdoors has got to be right.
It's in print, I know it.
I know, I wrote it, no.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't write it. The Fields Farm information came from Andy, so.
It's this.
So, whatever, so it's a large parcel of land. There used to be a barn across from the old Spalding home, which is the very old home that goes back to the 1700s, that is on Peasley Road there. Now it has
The big white one.
the big white one that used to have the
Huge monster trees in front.
yeah, the monster maples.
Yeah.
It lost one of them recently, but there's
Yeah.
still a couple of them there. So it's all across the street from there. The barn, the foundation is still there. There's still some other foundational pieces in there. We have a huge problem with invasives around that foundation, by the way. Lots of poison ivy. So don't go walking through it. If anyone's on the public thinking about it, don't go walking through it or walk at your own risk. If the property is used by hunters at different seasons as well. There are some trails, informal trails, nothing really there. And we've been kind of holding off on this parcel because the development around the Tamasian property is going in, and we're either going to get 20 acres or something like that, or 13 acres of land around it, or easement on it. And we had thought that we would handle the two of them together. But why I bring this up now is, one, I wanted you all to see the deed because there's some things in there I want to note on it. But two, there's some interest potentially in doing some activities out there over the next couple of years. And there's probably, if we're going to go down that road, there's probably some things we want to do sooner than later. So let's talk about the deed, because I think it's important. If you go to, I guess it's the 4th page on the thing I gave you, where it gets past all the boundary markers and all that. It gets into what's really this thing is all about. There's a paragraph that says, this property conveyed herein is to be used, managed, controlled by the town of Merrimack for conservation and public park purposes. So note that it's got conservation and public park purposes. I have, by the way, let Matt Kasperius see a copy of this. And I gave it to him because I think because of that phrase, conservation and park purposes, there could be some interest there. So if you go a little bit further down, it talks about maintaining it in its natural state as much as possible, subject to appropriate forestry and land use management practices. A little bit further down, it gets into unmotorized outdoor recreation by the general public. Go a little bit further, and it actually tells you that there is no ATVs, no snowmobiles, none of that. But it's for the protection of unique and fragile natural areas, unique historical and cultural references. Fields Farm, that's just the name, is a historical name. There's more to be known for that in that area as well. So all the way towards the end, the next page, it says low impact recreational educational uses, hiking, wildlife observation, jogging trails, cross-country skiing, and similar recreational activities, but not athletic fields. And prohibit the use of motorized vehicles, all-terrain vehicles, snowmobiles, motorcycles, or the like, unless needed for maintenance. And then at the very last paragraph, it says, including parking areas as far as reasonably possible away from abutters. So when I read that, I think the intent there by Mr. Ireland was to not have the parking lot be across the street from the Spalding property, so that people see it like the Listokers see, and Roland sees Horse Hill. So all this, a lot of information coming at you, all gets down to something else that's going on in town. So a little bit further past Amherst Road, heading towards Severns Bridge Road, there is the bridge, Severns Bridge. There is a canoe or kayak portage point where you can take in and take out, which has lots of drainage and erosion problems and all that. So I've met twice now with Kyle, George May from the Sauhegan River Local Advisory Committee. Now I'm in trouble. Another gentleman from the same committee who lives in Amherst. And this last time we invited Matt Kasperius to our last meeting to talk about that, because the town's been putting a lot of energy into fixing drainage. There was a culvert that went under Severance Bridge Road that failed, and it started collapsing in. So if you've gone there, you've noticed there's been construction there. They've redone the inlet and the outlet. But it's probably a poor place to have a portage in and out, because you actually could drive down in there, and one or two cars could get in there and take your canoe or kayaks in and out. But probably long term, it's probably not the right thing. Now, George would argue that he'd like to maintain it. So, but I was thinking that given this deed, given we have a parcel of land that's 300 yards downstream, maybe it makes sense to move that portage point over here, because it is recreational. It gives us access to the river. There are some trails along the river. I know growing up that you could go fishing down along there. Had done it once or twice. My son has done it along there, especially after they stocked the Sauhegan with trout. It's a great place because there's some rapids in there, and the trout kind of gather there before they move on. So I'm thinking that we probably should be thinking about maybe developing this property or start putting plans together for this property, including Matt and other folks. And maybe it's appropriate to put in a parking spot instead of up by Amherst Road. Maybe we put it down inside, like happens at a few other places in Amherst along the Sauhegan River. I don't know if you're familiar with any of the other portage points for the Sauhegan River in the local area. So there's one over by Sauhegan High School. Just if you got on Boston Post Road and you're heading towards Sauhegan going east, you go over a bridge, and then at the bottom of the bridge there's a little spot near a cornfield. You can actually get in there, and you can park in there and get into the river and get out. There's also one off of 122 by the golf course. That's further west, heading towards, it's still in Amherst, but heading towards Milford. That one has about probably 300 or 400 yard drive-in. You don't really know it's there unless you know where to turn down by a field and then kind of go along by the golf course and then into the woods, and lots of parking and in and out there, well used. But maybe we want to consider doing some forestry, doing some cleanup in there before we open it up, and then utilize maybe some forestry operation stuff, Woods Road for a parking area. We use the landing as the place for the parking area. Maybe put some picnic tables up, have a place for people to go enjoy the river. Just throwing some ideas out. I think it kind of goes with the property. And then after we do something there, we can slowly move east towards the Tamasian property and put in a trail system at some point and make a nice spot out there. Because that river is really interesting back out there. You get into some rapids out there and everything else too.
So to jump on what you said, if anyone is not familiar with the inlet right there by Severance Bridge Road and the bridge, if you go on the other side of the bridge and look back at it, you can see that it's pretty well undercut. And I'm amazed that we're still allowing people to drive in on there. Because even right now, driving off that road and into that parking area that's a bump. So I'm very much in for closing that area and finding some other place to use, because that's to me a very dangerous spot.
Mm-hmm. So I've learned from Kyle that there's money in the CIP to repair or close down or do something with that. Not this fiscal year, but the next fiscal year, so that would be 17-18, to do a project out there. So we have a year or so where we could utilize some of their money, maybe utilize some of our money, maybe chase ARM money, because stream, yes. So that rehabilitation of a stream bed and all that is all ARM possible. To do ARM money this year, you have to actually put the information together by April 29th. One or two page thing, and then all the plans by the fall. I think that's too quick.
Yeah.
And then there's other things. There's kayakers. There's some of the sports places will sponsor projects as well. Especially if you give them a little bit of free advertising on a kiosk or something like that. So I'm thinking that if we started over this year, going into next year, we could actually be ready to do a project by the time that everyone has monies available, so. But before we do that, if we want to go down that road, we might want to get a forester out there just to get an idea of what's going on out there. Not to say we're going to do any work, but it'd be good to have it looked at, I would think.
Absolutely.
So lots of stuff I threw out at you. I don't really have an action plan. I was thinking if we were all in favor of doing something, that I would put a few words together, and at our next meeting we can decide what we want to do for sure. But I know we've talked about doing management plans and stuff like that. You know, maybe we want to be working on a plan for the property, more formal. But I think we should at least spend the next few months doing data gathering and sending a forester out there and letting them tell us what we have, especially to know if we have any, special trees and things like that. And we found black gum out in Horse Hill and other things. Any unique habitats out there we ought to find out. So.
And even so far as maybe tracking where the invasives are.
Yeah.
Because we know of the poison ivy, and there could be a lot more of something else out there.
Right. Yeah, because a few years ago, Dan Sear and Mike did go out and do some work around the foundation, but I'm not sure anyone's ever followed up. So. Okay. All right. So for our next meeting, I'll make this a little bit more formal, put some thoughts together, and we can, make some motions and take some action. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Questions? Comments? It's not a bad place to go wandering around. So if anyone has any free time and they want to take a look, I know you've been out there, right? So.
Doesn't Old Kings Highway go all the way down to the river down there somewhere? Doesn't it end up down that area?
No. No, it shoots over.
I'm just wondering if there's any kind of contingencies, like we've got the mountain bike riders, there's a group of kayakers or canoers that are very active that live in Merrimack that might be able to weigh in on this or participate in this. I personally don't know any of them, so I don't know if George would know.
Yep.
But I would just, I would think if we gathered a few names, if we could just reach out to those people and just let them know that we're thinking about this. I think you're wise to plan this far in advance because we see, there's just so much work that we can get done, this commission itself, and the timeline that you outlined, I think is very reasonable. But I would like to bring people that do ride on the river.
Yep.
And I think the only way we're going to do that is by us personally reaching out to, if we can identify a few of them and reaching out to them. That's just the only suggestion I have.
Okay.
Do you want me to put something on there's the Merrimack form, and then there's the New Positive Merrimack form. So
There's the
We have 2 pages.
we have 2 forms
You
now.
hear about that?
Yes.
That's funny. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I can put something on either both, reaching out to anyone that is interested in kayaking and canoeing and invite them to the next meeting. Is that something you're interested in doing, or would you rather keep it quieter?
There's also the president of the Merrimack Valley Paddlers, or there's a group, and the president lives in town. And
That would be a good place to start.
yeah, I could reach out to her because
Okay.
she covers kayakers and canoers.
I would just think that's a group that we'd want to bring in. We'd want to reach out to and bring them in right from the beginning.
Yeah, that's kind of why I started the conversation with Surlac. That's how we can local advisory committee. And
I
George,
didn't even know a group like that existed, honestly, so.
Yeah, I'm on their email feed.
Yeah, down by Home Depot, there's that, I can't remember the name of the canoe place that's down there, but they have a ton of events always up on the windows up in front. So I think we have some good access to local clubs, to
Terrific.
local names to
Okay.
find out. So it's a good point.
Okay, so there's two Facebook pages, say that again?
There are 2 Merrimack forums now.
Yeah,
There's the Merrimack Forum, which has about, I want to say, around 2,500 people. And because there was some negativity going on in there, they started a second forum that's just for positive feedback.
I see.
So if, it's not for getting into arguments or discussions, it's
And
just
it's
for positive.
that one's a closed group as well. You have to have a Facebook account and you have to belong to the group,
Yes,
the new one.
yes. So I could put it
More
on,
anonymous.
yes, I could put it on either or.
You were never anonymous to post, really. I mean,
No.
if you had an account.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can get an account under any name, I understand
two or
that.
three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It is less likely. Facebook, from what I understand, if Facebook finds out that you're posting under an assumed name, they'll pull your account, but I don't know how they figure it out or prove it.
People report you.
The reporter.
Okay.
Well, it's really not that hard because if you're posting at the same time from the same IP address in 2 different accounts, it's kind of like a red flag that says, hey, and oh, by the way, your IP account, IP address is known and monitored to Facebook. Well, it's known to Facebook if they choose to mine that information. You're nowhere near anonymous when you're online. Not a chance, okay? You're tied to an IP address which can be located back to you for all kinds of reasons. So that was, that happened in the old Merrimack forum. People would have different accounts, and you could actually, Nat opened it up so you could actually go research and find out if people were using this, were posting from 2 accounts from the same IP address at the same time. Because Verizon and all these other companies, Comcast, they all rotate the IP addresses, so it has to be at the same time. Because the next day that could be given to someone else, depending on how DHCP works. If you want to get into all that technical stuff, I can tell you offline. But
I
fun.
just know of it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't know how to do it,
Yeah.
but I know
So-
of it.
So I just tell people you're not anonymous when you're online.
No.
No.
So would you like Gina to put something on there, or would you like us to try and reach out to these groups first?
I would rather we got a little bit further down the road, know what our plan is before we got, because if not, we're gonna have people that are ready to go today.
Right,
Okay.
Right,
And we're still arguing about how big the lot is, so
right.
let's get our ducks in a row
We're
first.
gonna see people parked on the side of Amherst Road carrying kayaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen. So yeah, let's get a little bit further down the
Okay.
road. So,
Okay.
because I'd like to make sure we have a good spot for it as well. Someone's going to have to start looking at this bank and all that as well. So, all right.
We also have REI coming to Bedford,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we do?
and they are very proactive at getting grassroots
Where in
and
Bedford?
getting where Macy's was.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was really? That's
Mm.
what's going to go in there?
Yeah, one of the things.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's gone. That came down so quick.
Matt, you're so in the know.
They've already reached out. They've already reached out.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yeah, they're very proactive.
Okay.
Love
Well, that's good, because I think we should be involving those kinds of people that would benefit and would have input right from the beginning, so.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'll get an email to Mary soon.
So excited about REI. It's so cool.
Okay, so that's all I have on that. I didn't want to make any decisions tonight, but I wanted to get everyone thinking about it. So I know I keep starting these little initiatives and keep pushing things. If I'm bringing up too many things all at once, just tell me to stop.
No, but we have to be good and at bringing people in and including other people and including these groups. We have to be good at that.
Yeah.
These things can happen, but it can't just be the people sitting here at the stable. So we have to be proactive in reaching out to these individual groups that would be interested in these projects. And I think it can be done. It just takes a little initiative on our part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just capture another note here. Okay, so that takes us to other business. Update on land donations. we have our meeting with the town council on Thursday for the one donation. Hopefully we get our approval and we can close. The other one, the Chestnut Hill, still with DES, working out the arrangements with deeds or easements or whatever. So they've asked for more information and see where we get. So the attorney for Chestnut Hill Development took all our conservation normal language that we used in our last purchase in November and we're using on our current purchase and rolled that all into the deed for this stuff, so it looks seamless. So these parcels will they'll have the same rules as the ones right next to it, so, which I think is good. Consistency in the deeds is good. So
Did we hear back from DES yet?
So the applicant, has heard from DES, asked for updated information. They've had some meetings. I've not been part of the meetings. I did reach out to Lori Summer in an email at the end of last week and said, I'd love to sit down and talk with you about this some more if you have any questions. And I said, if not, I've got other things that we want to be doing out there that are going to include you at some point, so let's start talking about the big picture. I did give her a pretty good long paragraph about what the vision was for out there to help sway and move this thing forward. So, and Ken did do a map that showed original Greater Woods, the school easement, the new parcels we just bought, and what these latest donations would look like all in a big map. It's all colorized. I didn't bring a copy of it with me. I have it in my email. I can bring it up on a computer, or I could send it to all of you. I'm not hiding anything.
That would be great if you could send it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's got different colors on it, but it does show the big picture of where we are. So, and when I looked at it, it's actually missing a couple of other town-owned parcels that are in the vicinity. So at some point, we probably want to include some of those too. But yeah, there's a lot there, and also the Amherst Land Trust owns some land in Merrimack too that's out that way as well. So, yeah.
If we could only be as good at mapping as contractors are.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it can't be that hard. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. All right, so when it comes to that purchase and donation, Mike, who's our associate land person, is getting all that information. He's CC'd on everything. So again, if something was to happen to me or whatever, there's still someone else that's in the know. So just like you with the attorney, I try to do everything in pairs. I think that's good. And if anyone, and not hiding anything, so always ask or let me know if you want to know about something. So. Horse Hill Nature Preserve parking lot, RFP. Kyle got preliminary wording together, sent it to me. I gave him a couple of questions and comments. Were you part of that or not? No, okay. What I realized is that Horse Hill is owned by the town, as I knew, and we manage it, but we never actually asked if we could make the parking lot bigger.
I told them we were making the parking lot bigger.
We told them we were making the parking lot bigger. So we were there in January.
They all nodded knowingly.
Yes, we were all there in January. It was part of my presentation. I told them we did the wetland look and we're making the parking lot bigger, but we never asked. So I asked Kyle and them, do we need to ask? And I think the consensus is they already know, it's been out in the open, is that that it'll probably be part of the manager's comments on Thursday.
Okay.
To let them know that we're going to be doing this. And since we're going to be there, I thought maybe I would take a moment and say, okay, are we good with this? Because we want to get the RFP out. So we can get comments, we can get the work done.
See, well, no one asked any question. Everybody nodded.
Everyone
your
nodded.
head.
No one said no. Exactly. They all recognize that we have a parking lot problem out there, with space issues. So, but we didn't ask. So I think it's worthwhile. So beyond that, I think all the wording is pretty much done. Kyle's doing the final drawing plans, and then it'll go out to bid. I've asked that we get the bids done back by the end of April so we can have the work done by the end of June. So, of course, I said, Kyle, I said, you fix the dates or timelines if they don't match with what else we do. So, if he thinks it needs to be done longer or whatever, then whatever. So,
The unpolite forum is yeah, it is going to be on fire the couple of weeks that the parking lot's under construction.
Oh, yeah, right.
yeah.
We're going to probably want to come up with some signs maybe to get them over to
Yeah.
Wasserman or
Mhm.
Yeah.
even though those trails over there aren't as interesting.
Well, the construction, to expand that existing parking lot, I mean, obviously they're gonna have some laydown space, but once they, I mean, it's not gonna take up the whole parking lot, really, do you think?
Yeah, they're going to consume the whole thing for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
it's
going to have
good.
a logging operation.
Yeah, they're going to go in to cut, and then they got to, yeah, I could see it done in a week.
But a week is a long time to
Yeah.
people that go there 3
Right.
times a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we rent space from Listoka,
I wouldn't ask that.
or, no? Okay, I just did on TV, but.
So, so we,
And
we
people are
have,
just going to have to suck it up.
we have the Watonic.
Yep.
Right? That's why I was hoping to get it done by the end of June, so it happens during the school year. Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Do
suck it.
people actually go into Horse Hill? I mean, I got chased out of there one time by black flies. It was pathetic. It was Rosemary Rung and I ran screaming out of there, like a couple of little babies.
Black
because
flies or horse flies?
they must have been horse flies. They were awful.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were
So,
terrible.
so the middle of July, depending on the timeline, middle of July to early mid-August, you'll get chased out of anywhere in the woods
my
between
gosh.
deer fly and horse fly.
That was
And that
awful.
shifts depending on the weather
And you
and
wear
stuff.
your hats with a double-sided tape.
Yeah.
11 miles per hour is the magic number.
They can't keep up with you.
Yeah, unless you're on a bike. Right.
Right. Yeah, then you get
Can't run 11 miles
then you
per
get
hour.
knocked. You get knocked. Double-sided tape is great because you can hear them behind you going zzz,
Yeah.
trying to get off the tape.
Well, and you make a fashion statement, too. You know?
Yes, you do.
You would hate
Those
that-
things are
you'd hate
flying
that.
around my head. I don't care what I look like. I really don't.
Yeah. So your timing was bad. But that's anywhere in town.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And yes, people will still want to park there,
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
if that's where you were going with that.
Okay, so that's moving along. So we did talk about the cameras already. There is a tree pruning demonstration at the Listoka parcel property that's coming up here on the 26th
It's on
of
the
March,
website.
right?
Yeah, it's on the
That's
same day.
coming Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I have not heard back yet.
So it is on our is on our outdoors website. Did you get it on the calendar?
Yes.
You did. Okay. So it's quite informative. Folks from New Hampshire Cooperative Extension, John Newt will be there also, who is the county forester. You'll learn a whole lot, and they're hoping to get over to the blueberry bushes and stuff like that as well. So, but if you have any sort of fruit trees or anything like that, you'll learn a lot.
Even beyond that, if you have any questions about pruning trees, regardless of if it's a fruit tree or not, the folks that are there will do a great job
Yeah.
telling you where, when, how, what,
Yeah.
and they do a really great job. And John does a nice job of hosting the event too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So they do ask for a donation, but you'll certainly get all that back and more. So, yeah. Their whole goal is to educate the public. So they want the questions. If they're talking the whole time and just talking, they're not happy. So they'll show you what kind of pruning tools to use, which ones not to use, all of that. So, yeah. Okay. That's all I have on that website. We should have information back about all we approved last meeting for Wendy to go in and gather a bunch of data. She hopes to have that to us next week, so we'll have it for our following meeting where we can decide what we want to do with the website after we get that. So that's all I have for other business. Yeah.
The one update, I can't remember now with all the emails, whether we updated the entire commission to let them know that we are continuing to act on the Wasserman Heights.
Not done that. Yeah.
Okay. Tree cutting situation. So I wanted you all to know that Tim and I have been involved in correspondence and there is being action taken. I'm not sure. I have to touch base with the town manager. I spoke with her on Friday about something else, and she had indicated to me that the paperwork was drawn up and was being presented on Monday, which was yesterday, right? Today's Tuesday?
No.
Today's Monday, so that's today. Okay, so I might hear from her tomorrow, even possibly, that we've got paperwork to take to the homeowners and address the situation.
Yeah, my understanding is it was going to be delivered by Sheriff's Department.
Yes,
So
an injunction.
resolve itself nicely.
And it discusses what Matt encountered while he was out there as well.
Yeah.
That's included in the language.
Basically a cease and desist.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And then it comes down to figuring how we resolve the situation
Yes.
long term.
Right.
So
Remedy.
remedy, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's too bad. You always hope those things will resolve themselves in a more pleasant fashion.
yeah.
But just wanted you to know that we're still working on it.
Okay, anyone have anything else for other business? So that takes us to minutes. First minutes are February the 29th. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to go through the minutes.
I did.
Good.
Motion to approve with changes, the February 29th minutes.
Second?
So,
I think I only had one thing here on page 3, row 12 and 13. We're just thinking it sound after the certificate is issued.
is issued, yeah. Okay.
That's all I had.
And also on page 3, on between lines 35, 36, 37, the one I'm looking at is on 37. I would have remediation, having an understanding, and I would add the word that. Many times it takes these companies a very long time to mitigate.
I was trying to figure out how to fix that wording, but that sounds good. So can you read that through again?
Starting on 35, it said, those types of issues she can identify as she is familiar with types of things that come up in a FERC easement process. She could also assist with issues such as remediation, having an understanding that many times it takes these companies a very long time to mitigate or even clean up the site. So I put a comma after remediation, and I put, after understanding, I put the word that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Does anyone else have anything else? So that was moved by Cindy, seconded by Jody, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstention, that passes 6-0-0. Okay. Then we go to March the 7th. I did not read them through detailed all the way, but that's okay. I have skimmed them.
I move the March 7, 2016 meeting minutes with corrections.
Second.
Okay, so we got the opposite this time?
Yeah.
I just had one thing. It was on page 3 of 13, line 10. I don't think that this is going to just take one word to correct it, but when we talked about, when Kyle Fox, Deputy Director Fox, stated as part of the project they'll remove the material that the new material will replace, I believe Gage had asked him, because if you go to like a sentence before that, we were talking about the materials that have basically like filtered down into the lake over the years, and I believe what happened was Gage asked him, are those materials going to be removed from the bottom of the lake? And Kyle responded that they were not. So I think we need to just change, I don't know how I want to tell Dawn to, maybe if we just say Deputy Director Fox stated as part of the project, they will not be removing the material that has entered the lake over the years.
And only enough material to, only enough material to offset the new concrete pieces that are going in. I don't know, yeah.
So they're not dredging in the lake.
Right.
I want to give her another sentence.
Okay, yeah, I think you kind of were on that. So Deputy Director Fox stated as part of the project, they will not remove
the material
and then period.
that has entered the lake over the years.
Yes, right, okay.
Washington Lake previously, they put a period right there.
Okay.
Right, the intent is to replicate what is there, resulting in as minimum an impact as possible.
Yeah.
Is it maybe worthwhile asking her to review that tape again just to see maybe there's more?
If she could hear you, she could.
Oh.
You're getting worse instead of better, Gage.
Yeah, oh, I know. Yeah, it's
You would think after all these years.
I just think it may be worthwhile to have the tape reviewed to capture some more language in that paragraph.
We could ask her if
If
she would please do that.
This might be, obviously this is a summation of what was said.
Right.
But
Yeah.
So I think that was the only thing that I had for these. Thank you.
I just had two questions.
Yeah.
One on the first page, so page 1, line 57.
Yeah.
D to go through the books from the early 1900s, comma, which was determined. So just put a D on the end of determined.
Yeah.
And then on page 2, just because I don't recognize the word, and I should have looked it up, but I didn't, so I'll just ask you guys, is there such a word I'm on page 2, line 48, is there such a word as swale, S-W-A-L-E?
Yeah.
Okay. I will look it up when I get home
Okay.
on dictionary.com.
You're going to be well versed in swale here.
Yeah.
Swale? Okay.
Yeah.
Swell.
I'm on swales. Anyone else have anything?
On page 3, on row 56, just add a to before pass/enforce. So it does not allow the town to pass.
Okay.
And that's all I had.
Okay, so I have one other than on page 2, lines 15 and 16, just a correction. So it is the trustees of the trust fund. So it's not trustees of the Conservancy Trust, it's trustees of the trust fund. So they're an elected body here in the town of Merrimack, so.
The one question I had about that, we don't really, I was trying to read through that, and they don't really specify where that is. We didn't call it Mitchell Woods or, I guess we say Watkins Forest on the end. I mean, I don't know. I was just trying to, it seems like we're talking about it a whole awful lot, and Watkins Forest, because are they only going to do Watkins Forest? I thought they were going to do the Mitchell Woods.
The trustees only have
Yeah,
oversight
only on
of
Watkins
Watkins
Forest.
Forest. And so I learned from
Okay.
Mike that they're looking to do work on Watkins Forest and wanted to know if we had any interest
In the Mitchell Woods side.
in the Mitchell Woods side, yeah.
Because I think the Bobcat pictures were taken on that side of on the north side of that fence. So that were actually Mitchell Woods. But,
Yeah.
no, it's kind of splitting their hair, I suppose, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, I suspect the Bobcat doesn't know
No,
boundaries.
yes, I know.
Get a
Get
compass.
the electric
It's-
fence.
it's
collar.
right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
He says, I'm Mitchell Woods going, you can't shoot me.
Yeah.
All right, anyone have anything else?
No.
All right, so that was moved by Cindy, seconded by Jody this time, no, or did I get it wrong?
Other way.
Opposite, okay, all right. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, that passes 6-0. All right, the public is not with us, so I don't expect any comments from them. Commissioner comments. Gina, any comments for the commission?
I do not, thank you.
Jody?
Thanks, I just say I'm looking forward to seeing some, if not all of you, on Thursday night.
All right. Cindy?
I don't have anything.
Matt?
Just want to thank the Greater Woods Subcommittee and some of the volunteers that came out to build a bridge yesterday.
Yeah, cool. Look forward to pictures.
Matt, would you just describe the project, so because people might be interested in knowing where the bridge was built?
So there's a trail that comes off of the school loop trail, and it goes towards a couple of neighborhoods. Historically, many children have walked to school on this trail. Right dead center of the trail is a stream, and it's probably 12 feet across. There's rocks in the stream, so kids for years have skipped across these rocks on the way to school. Past the stream, the trail was very wet for probably 20 yards. So the wet trail for 20 yards was replaced with a new trail, and the stream was crossed with two bridges that were put in on Sunday. And the school was actually, the school purchased the bridge for us to put in.
Nice.
I saw photos, it looks great. Right, so this is just another, this is a project that the Conservation Commission partnered with the school district on, so, and it worked out very well. Thank you guys for doing that.
Anything else, Matt?
That's it.
Gage?
I do not.
You've heard enough from me tonight, so.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, moved by Matt, seconded by Cindy. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes 6-0 at 8:05 PM.
Oh, good.
Okay, any further questions from the board?